Successful musicians are generally very famous people. The frontmen get to experience all the recognition that comes with their popular music, but the ones working away from the stage lights usually get just a fraction of it. In the case of composers and producers, their work can get heard countless of times, but unless they have a tag, audiences most likely won't know about them. Composers specifically often have to rely on the success of the media that contains their soundtrack for it to get heard, because most people won't listen to the niche instrumental music unless it has a connection to another media. And that's exactly when an interesting phenomenon occurs. If the work that contains their soundtrack gets extremely popular, many people can easily recognize the melodies, but very few are familiar with the creator. Examples like this are present across all genres. Everyone knows the Star Wars, but only the nerds know that it was composed by John Williams. Or a more zoomer example, Minecraft. Everyone gets nostalgic when hearing, but not many know that the C418 in front of the title is actually its author. But by far the craziest example of this would be the artist who's the most listened to person alive, with surprisingly few people knowing about him. His website hosts a seemingly endless amount of copyright-free music, which is a cornerstone of today's social media landscape, but because of its nature, not many are familiar with the author or his story. In 2010, South Africa hosted the Football World Cup, and the tournament's mascot, Zakumi, became the star of its animated series. Two friends residing in New York were among the artists commissioned to compose a soundtrack for the show. After receiving an initial payment, they started working relentlessly, with them taking shifts where one of them slept while the other composed. It was exhausting, essentially working 24/7, but they managed to deliver the product on time. However, to their dismay, the payment never materialized. All the stress and exhaustion they endured was seemingly for nothing, and the show is now partially considered lost media. One of the friends, Brian Teo, actually quit his job before starting the project and was left in a financial struggle. Luckily for him, his co-worker was Kevin Macleod, an introverted person that cared for people around him, and so he helped him with money out of his own pocket. But as it's often the case, Kevin was able to aid those around him, but not himself. It was a difficult time in his life, as he felt extremely overworked from years of composing long in the night. He had his dream job, but what good was it if he didn't actually enjoy making music like he used to, but instead just composed tracks and put tracks to pay the bills?
I treat a lot of my depression with alcohol, and it kind of works.
A simple man navigating through stressful and complex situations, Kevin reached a breaking point with 2 panic attacks. At the time, the only real solution seemed to be to get away from it all. Born in the early 80s, at a time when movies, video games and other media were growing exponentially, a young man from Wisconsin realized that music was his true calling, but not the grunge anthems that were on the rise during his teenage years, but rather background songs and soundtracks. Being a music student, Kevin Macleod grew more and more frustrated about the copyright system. During that era, the sole means to obtain royalty-free music was through CD collections, which still required payment. Kevin aspired to create something more accessible, music available free for use anywhere and anytime, as long as proper credit was given. Working as the web developer, he created a personal website in 1996. At the time, it was one of the 100,000 websites on the World Wide Web. It took another 4 years for Kevin to actually start uploading music to his site, but for it to take off, the musician had to go to a bigger struggle than he could have thought. Today, the website is one of the trillion other ones of the entire internet, and it's everything he ever wanted. The countless songs are completely copyright free for any type of use. 22 years earlier, the website wasn't nearly as popular as it is today, but Kevin, being the optimist he is, believed it could succeed. With $20,000 in his bank account, he took the risk and quit his full-time job to pursue making soundtracks. He lived in New York at the time and enjoyed it, despite feeling disappointed about his site not taking off the way he hoped it would. It was hard for him to start making a living, but retaining his dream job was going to be twice as hard. Kevin had to leave New York, as he simply wasn't able to take it anymore. He returned home feeling lost, looking for something to reignite his passion for music. He found that in polka, playing the accordion at a local festival and doing what he does best, being a cheerful and happy guy. The optimistic side of Kevin was reignited and he was able to return to his work, which he continues doing to this day. Kevin worked extremely hard to establish himself as a musician, but what eventually led him to become one of the most listened to artists ever was an external factor. In the mid-2000s, the internet was experiencing another boom in popularity, and very few sites got the attention YouTube did. With the seemingly unstoppable growth, there was also an increasingly bigger need for copyright-free music, and through word of mouth, Kevin's compositions became the go-to background songs. YouTube cracked down on punishing the use of copyrighted material very early, which quickly resulted as a boost for Kevin's music. The other thing that helped spread his works is the audio library, which you literally cannot visit without seeing Kevin's name pop up. His melodies quickly spread beyond YouTube, and because they cover such a variety of genres and emotions, they are essentially inescapable online. I guarantee you've heard all of these songs, but just don't know the title of them. Following his success on social media, Kevin got even more recognition as his songs got used in the video game Kerbal Space Program and even in the Oscar-winning movie Hugo, directed by Martin Scorsese. This well-deserved recognition culminated in Kevin receiving his own documentary in 2020. It was a huge help when making this, and I'd recommend you watch it. It talks more about Kevin and the world around him. It also features some familiar faces, and yes, it has Boogie and even this lady.
He will often use certain of his songs with rhythms to beat my slaves in the rhythm of his music.
It's hard to fathom just how much music Kevin has made and just how many people have heard it. Due to his songs being a staple of the most popular video platforms, I believe it's safe to say that he's the most listened to musician in the world right now. There is not really a way to tell if he's the most listened to musician ever, but he's definitely in the ranks of timeless names like Mozart and Beethoven, which is quite the elite company. Regardless of the statistics, the decision to make his work completely copyright-free is extremely brave, and we can only be thankful for it. Whether it's for the nostalgic factor of the early internet era or due to how accessible and useful his music is, Kevin's tracks will always be a cornerstone of the internet. Today, he's still making music and uploading it to his website. Thanks to his popularity, he can make a great living through ads and song licenses, as if he can't be credited, he requests a payment of just $30. Despite this, he hasn't shaken the feeling of imposter syndrome, as he refers from spending too much money, fearing that it could all collapse overnight. It nicely shows that, even if he sometimes thinks so, achieving a goal will not make our problems disappear and that they should be addressed properly. It also shows that our lives will never be free of worries, but you can at least try to do the best of it and from time to time do something that makes us appreciate life a little bit more. Kevin makes sure to do that. He doesn't give a fuck about imperfection or monetary gains, and he doesn't care too much if people credit him or not. They really should, but what can you do? He just makes shit because he wants to. He knows that his work is not perfect, but he rather fixes the major mistakes with a song and moves on to the next one, rather than spend the next 50 hours perfecting that one song. A very freeing mindset that definitely makes his work way more fun. I personally relate to Kevin, not to being successful or even good at what I do, but the struggles. I was in the same position of thinking my work will just randomly take off. Reality hit hard, the disappointments even harder. I can say that I often experience similar emotions to him, and even if I don't expect to reach whatever level of success, I can at least say I enjoyed the ride. It makes me feel better hearing how Kevin experienced everything he had but still kept a positive mindset through it, and in the end it resulted nicely for him. Thanks for watching.